Hello! In today's tutorial, we will be covering how to add a ragdoll to your avatar and throw items at it. As an aside, I tried to locate a free active ragdoll component that would be simple for beginners, but was unable to. Instead, I have found an asset that is very reasonably priced and contains many of the features you will need. Also, for this tutorial, I will be using Unity's visual scripting tools, as I feel it will be easier for individuals coming from other VTubing applications. Let's begin. To begin, you will want to obtain the Ragdoll Animator 2 asset from the Unity Asset Store. I have worked with many assets from this developer in the past, and I cannot recommend them enough. Once obtained, you can click Open in Unity. Click the download button if it is not already downloaded, and then click Import. On this dialog, click Yes for these and other files that might be found. Returning to the scene view, locate and select your avatar. In the Inspector tab, scroll to the bottom and click Add Component. You will want to add the Ragdoll Animator 2 component. For this tutorial, we will be doing a very basic Ragdoll setup. For more information on how to configure Ragdoll Animator 2, please consult the tutorials provided by the developer. Click Try and auto-find required bones. This will provide the basic setup for your Ragdoll Animator. For more information on how to customize these values, please consult the developer's tutorials. For this tutorial, I will be making one customization, and that will be to add the custom feature, Blend on Collisions. This is an optional step, but it is one that I personally prefer. Next, you will want to create a prefab to contain the object you wish to drop or throw at your avatar. In the asset browser, right-click, choose Create, and select Prefab. I have prepared a prefab in advance. Let's step through what it contains. You will want a collider component. In this case, I have used a box collider. A rigid body, which will allow your object to interact with Unity's physics system. Optionally, I have included a script machine for collision logic. This will be covered later in the tutorial. And an audio source for collision audio. Inside, I have placed a 3D model of a cube, but you may use any 3D model of your choosing. Next, returning to your scene view, you will want to right-click in your hierarchy and create empty. This will serve as the origin point of your dropped items and will contain all logic for dropping them. Place the dropper in the scene where you would like the items to spawn from. Next, you will add the script machine component. Click New to create a new script graph. Select Edit Graph. In this case, you will want to delete the pre-generated nodes. For the purposes of this tutorial, you will be adding a keyboard input node. This will be replaced in a later tutorial. Next, add a custom event node. And give it a name. Next, you will want to make another custom event node for triggering your drop event. You will also want to create a new graph variable for your drop prefab. You will set this to the type GameObject and drag your prefab into the value. You can then drag that into your graph. Continuing from your custom event, create a instantiate object. Assign your prefab variable to the original. For position, use getPosition. Of the transform object. For rotation, use quaternion literal. Next, to despawn the dropped object, choose GameObject destroy with T. T represents the amount of time before the object is destroyed. Enter the value of your choosing. You may now run your application. By pressing space, an object should fall on your character. To create an item thrower, the process starts much the same, but will require more math. Start by placing an empty in the scene at the desired spawn location. Add a script machine like you did before, and create a new graph. This graph will be similar to your dropper graph, in that it will start with a keyboard input. Remember to change which key it is bound to so you can execute it separately. Also be sure to provide a different event name to prevent overlap. This time I have used object variables to increase script reusability. The variables used are prefab to represent the object that will be thrown, target to represent where the object will be thrown at, in this case it will be the head bone of our avatar, power for how hard the object will be thrown, and aim adjust to tweak where the object will land. Starting from our custom event, we will instantiate the prefab as we did before. Then we will add force to throw it at our avatar. To calculate the force required, we will start with the target game object and get its position. We will then subtract the target position from the spawn position. We will then add our aim adjust and multiply by power. We will also set the mode to velocity change. We will then continue the flow by destroying our object after 3 seconds. We can now once again execute our application. By pressing your chosen key, an object should be thrown at your avatar. If the object misses, you can alter your aim adjust and power until it lands where you want. You can also change these values to change how it is thrown. If you want the object to be thrown harder and flatter, you can change this to a higher number and reduce the aim adjust. Or you can go with a lower power and higher adjust for a slower arcing throw. Now let's cover creating the collision effect. In the prefab we created before, there was a script machine containing the graph hit. This graph contains 2 variables, hit count, which is the number of times you want the effect to be played, and hit prefab, which will be spawned on collision. In this case, it is a particle system with the punch flash effect. Starting from the on collision enter event, we check to see if there are any remaining hits. If there are, we reduce that amount by 1. We then randomize the pitch of the audio source and play it. Finally, from the on collision enter event, we get the list of contact points. We select the first one, we get its location in the world, and spawn the hit prefab at that location. We then end the flow by removing the hit effect. This is just one example of how this can be achieved. Please feel free to experiment and create your own collision event. This concludes this tutorial. I hope you have found it helpful. In the next tutorial, we will integrate Twitch redeems so viewers can throw items at you. Please like and follow if you would like to see this series continued. Leave a comment below about what you would like to see in future tutorials. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.